for many years. Then from Hong Kong we got it back. So that's the big celebration. Then Buddha's Piprava June which were in the Indian Museum, Calcutta, that are also displayed for the first time. So for 127 years after its discovery from the stupa, it was always in the wall. And this is like one of the columns which is not very well survived with Kanchi, but still we opted for that because this was believed to be one of believed to be the first gateway. This was stated as Kanchi, and we enter here.
Yes.
And like wives are fighting among themselves who is going to have the king. So
Sorry.
we can see that.
That image saying how wife is gonna have the king. That is also the light and lotus and awakening of once.
It is from Gandhar. First and foremost, like the color of the soap. They use base which is typical to Gandhara. And then what we are seeing here is Buddha in his hand in Dharma Chakra Pravartan Mudra. And this is like, it's a kind of preaching mudra. So it means he is like talking about his teaching. So he's like opening the petals of the lotus, which symbolizes knowledge. Now, another important thing about the sculpture is that you see only one shoulder is covered.
Yes.
Gandhar is a cold region, and generally early Gandhar sculpture, we see both the shoulders covered. But in Mathura, which also flatter period, and this is a bronze sculpture. The Chola bronzes are world famous, but prior to that, it dates centuries before Cholas. And it is one of the finest examples where you see the Buddha image in totality. It was discovered from Madhya Pradesh. Now, what is the key component of the sculpture is that there is a pedestal and Buddha is standing on a lotus flower. And then we also see, since he is a Chakravartin, Buddha is also a monarch and he rules over the spiritual domain. So we see the Chakra. And then you see two cherubs who are like Devadoot, and what are they doing? They are bringing garland to venerate Lord Buddha. So Buddha is being worshipped as a divine being, but these are very, very important because they are not made in Indian manner. It is influenced from Greco-Roman tradition. We see these cherubs in Greek art, in Roman art. So what does it mean? That there were interaction between the two nations. Further, again it is very, very significant.
Disconnect.
Because there is an inscription. Can you see the inscription on the pedestal?
Yes.
A Brahmin inscription. You know what it says? It gives name of the donor. And his name was Nagachari Veera. So we know who has donated this sculpture to the monastery. So significant in many aspects. But when we look at the form, there are certain specific aspects of Gupta Vakataka idiom. When you look at the physical form, it's sensuous, very well rendered. Look at the fine drapery. You have seen Gandhar drapery, which is so thick. Now we are in central India, so what we are seeing?
Connection successful.
Fine muslin.
Muslin.
So muslin is being depicted by the artist in a very nice manner. It clings to the body. So form is very sensuous, but when you look at the face, it has a very meditative quality about it. It's inward looking. So Gupta Vakataka artists were known for this great balance between spiritual and sensuous. So masterpiece in every aspect, whether it is technical aspect or the iconographic and inscriptions significance of the sculpture. So let's move to the next section. By the way, we have divided this exhibition in 8 parts.
Whatever treasure there may be, they either may be beyond precious jewelers, heaven's enlightenment also to be well-being. Its introduction also because by the vision of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi did and vignettes of right. These are all mapped. Also like this is Gandhi. Isn't that how it works?
Look at this sculpture. We all know what it is.
Disconnect.
This is footprint of Lord Buddha.
Both kya?
And Lord
Sorry.
Buddha was a great being. He was Mahapurush. So when he was born, there were certain marks on his body and on his feet which identifies him as a great being. So some of the marks are being depicted here. Can you see? Once I leave this place, you can all look into it. So on the toes, we have conch motif, Sankh.
Sank.
We have
This is Shank.
chakra. Then we also see Mount Meru, the shikharas of the mountain. And again, mountain is a god of God. We also see the solar motif. And there are other motifs also. So these marks identify him as Mahapurush. And then another important thing to notice here is that initially Buddha was against idol worship, right? So initially he was represented through symbols. So in early Buddhist art, you see Buddha represented as symbols, and footprint is one such symbol. But even when Buddha was started being depicted in a iconic form, artists continued the tradition. So this is from later period, and still we have the symbols along with the image. So as Indian, we are very clingy to our tradition. We don't leave it easily. So we see here right from 2nd century BC to the 8th century, which is the Palatine.
Yes. By oneself, it is once it's released and it's written in Dharma Mahapada version 165.
And when
There
you
also
look
now
at
what is
this,
there.
this is a very important symbol of Buddhism. It's called Sri Ratna. Can you see? So Sri Ratna means Buddha, Dham and Sangh. And who is upholding the Sri Ratna? There is an Atlantis figure, a Bharavahar, and he holds a Dharma Chakra, and over that we have Sri Ratna. Again it is Gandhar. You can identify Gandhar, right? Because of the color of the stone and also the draperies. Very thick draperies. When you come to the mainland India, the draperies are finer.
The government of India.
We can see this movie, which will give you a perspective about
As
this
a
whole.
result, this invaluable heritage returned to
Please
India
allow sir
after
first to sit.
127. After a long gap of 127 years.
Those who can sit, can sit.
Reflect India's close association with Lord Buddha and his great teachings. They also demonstrate our commitment to the preservation and protection of
It's a
the many
bit
dimensions of
museums
our
of
glorious culture.
remove it to serve out information.
This exhibition celebrates the return and reunification of the Piprava jewels. Displayed together in India for the first time, the exhibition unfolds across 8 sections, bringing together archaeology, history, and philosophy to present a comprehensive perspective. You are warmly welcomed to be part of this unforgettable journey.
Just wait for a moment. Yeah.
संस्कृति मंत्रालय, भारत सरकार इस ऐतिहासिक प्रदर्शनी में आपका स्वागत करता है। कपिलवस्तु में प्राप्त इन बुद्ध अवशेषों की गाथा आज से 2700 साल पूर्व उस क्षण से आरंभ होती है जब कपिलवस्तु की पवित्र धरती पर भगवान बुद्ध के उपदेशों ने मानवता का मार्ग आलोकित किया था। कुशीनगर में भगवान बुद्ध के महापरिनिर्वाण के पश्चात उनके शरीर धातु 8 गणराज्यों में बांटे गए और शाक्य वंश ने अपने हिस्से को कपिलवस्तु में स्तूप के रूप में प्रतिष्ठित किया, जिसे आज पिपरहवा स्तूप के रूप में जाना जाता है। समय की धूल में कपिलवस्तु की स्मृति खो गई। सन 1898 में पिपरहवा के जमींदार क्लैक्सटन पेपे ने वहां स्थित टीले को खोला। 18 फीट नीचे उन्हें बलुआ पत्थर से तराशा गया एक संदूक मिला, जिसमें बुद्ध के पवित्र अवशेष और रत्न झिलमिला रहे थे। बाद में 1970 के दशक में उत्खनन हुए, जिनमें और गहराई से शाक्यकालीन धातु पात्र प्राप्त हुए। अशोककालीन 5 धातु पात्रों में से एक अभिलेख युक्त था, जिस पर ब्राह्मी लिपि में लिखा था सुकिति भतिनम सभगिनिकनम सपुत्तलनम इयम सलिल्लिधाने बुधस भगवते साकियनम। अर्थात प्रसिद्ध शाक्य भाइयों ने अपनी बहनों, पुत्रों और पत्नियों के साथ मिलकर भगवान बुद्ध के पवित्र धातु अवशेषों को यहाँ स्थापित किया। यह अभिलेख इस बात का प्रमाण बना कि ये अवशेष स्वयं बुद्ध के हैं। ये रत्न उस युग की अनुपम कलात्मकता और शिल्प कौशल के जीवंत साक्ष्य हैं। स्वर्ण, मोती, माणिक्य, गोमेद, पुखराज, अमेथिस्ट, मूंगा, कार्नेलियन और स्फटिक से निर्मित पुष्प, पत्तियां, पक्षी, स्वस्तिक और त्रिरत्न। ये अब तक किसी एक स्थल से प्राप्त सबसे बड़ा बौद्ध रत्न समूह है। इस खोज के बाद पेप्पे कई पवित्र रत्न अपने साथ इंग्लैंड ले गए, जबकि एक हिस्सा भारतीय संग्रहालय कोलकाता में सुरक्षित रखा गया। फिर एक शताब्दी के मौन के बाद अप्रैल 2025 में जब हांगकांग के सोथबीज में इनकी नीलामी की घोषणा हुई, तो प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के दिशा निर्देश पर संस्कृति मंत्रालय ने तत्परता से हस्तक्षेप किया, क्योंकि ये रत्न केवल रत्न नहीं, स्वयं बुद्ध के शरीर धातु है। ये अमूल्य विरासत 127 वर्षों बाद पुनः स्वदेश लौटी, सार्वजनिक निजी साझेदारी का उत्कृष्ट उदाहरण बनकर। रत्न अवशेषों की इस ऐतिहासिक वापसी पर प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने कहा, भगवान बुद्ध की पवित्र पिपरहवा निशानियां 127 वर्षों के लंबे अंतराल के बाद स्वदेश वापस आ गई हैं। ये जानकर हर भारतीय को गर्व होगा। ये पवित्र निशानियां भगवान बुद्ध और उनकी महान शिक्षाओं के साथ भारत के घनिष्ठ संबंध को दर्शाती हैं। ये हमारी गौरवशाली संस्कृति के विभिन्न पहलुओं के संरक्षण और सुरक्षा के प्रति हमारी प्रतिबद्धता को भी दर्शाती है। ये प्रदर्शनी पिपरहवा रत्नों की पुनर्वापसी और पुनर्मिलन का उत्सव है।
This is from Japan, and this is an image of Amitabha Buddha. And Amitabha Buddha is very significant. You know, there are many Buddhas. Like in Buddhist, Buddha means enlightened one, and enlightened one could be anyone. Like we can be Buddha. So that's a whole concept. So he is Buddha Amitabh, and he is in Sukhavati paradise. That's his paradise. And there is this very important manuscript called Sadharma Pundari or Lotus Sutra, which we discovered from Japan. It was more popular in Japan. We lost the tradition, but it was preserved there. So it's like, you know, how we are getting the tradition also from outside, and Japan is highly inspired by Buddhist tradition. This is a copper plate grant from Nalanda, and it records that on the request of an Indonesian king, the Pala king donated 4 villages for upkeep of a monastery in Bodh Gaya, which was Indonesia. So again we see the rulers' relationship. Is enlightened. So this is Mahayana Buddhism. And then on this wall you can take your time and look at these paintings. These are monks from Nalanda school, painted by Upendra Mahathir in 20th century. So of course these are not original monks painted by, but he is paying tribute to the concept, because these monks played a very important role in spread of Buddhism. They were learned people. They were involved into translation activities and other like, you know, like, so here is Asavagod. He has written Buddha Charita, which is a very, very important text in Buddhism. Then you have like Dharma Rakshak, who played a very important role in expansion of Buddhism in China, and then there is another like Vasubandhu, who was again a very famous scholar from Nalanda. So we know like these people have played important role in dissemination of Buddhism. And now we are going to the star section of this tour, which is the central part.
Brahmari Astavakosha. These are all from Nalanda. Ashtabuddha, 8 Bodhisattvas. They are everything and how it happened also. Like second. These are now we are going to.
So in this particular section, we try to show like various aspects of teaching of Buddha, and this is a very interesting episode of ordination of Rahul, because when he goes back to Yashodhara, so he came to Kapilvastu after being invited by his father many times. He would never come. So he came as a kind of bhikkhu.
Bhikshu.
Now everyone came to meet him, but not Yashodhara. And Buddha realized, like, he needed to go to her. So he went to him, and there was this episode which is mentioned, like, say, like, okay, she asked Rahul, can you see the wheel?
Yes.
And it is a Gandhar sculpture, his first 5 disciples. And then this is the place where he talked about 4 noble truths.
4 noble truths.
Yeah, कि जीवन में दुख है, दुख का कारण तृष्णा है, तृष्णा का निवारण संभव है, और उसका निवारण कैसे संभव है? अष्टांगिक मार्ग. अब अष्टांगिक मार्ग में है राइट स्पीच, राइट थिंकिंग, राइट सीइंग. है तो बहुत इजी चीजें, हो नहीं पाती ना, लेकिन
Right means
तो बहुत मुश्किल है उसको करना. बट वेरी बेसिक थिंग्स, हिज टीचिंग्स आर सिंपल फॉर द पीपल, बट and if one practices, there would be no war in the world. Now this, so how the teachings were communicated? Teaching was communicated through Jatak stories also. So this is one of the Jatakas. There are many Jatakas, like more than 500 Jatakas are there, and there are episodes which is told with the help of animals, with some other aspects. So here is Vishantar Jatak and Siddharth's previous life story. So he was Vishantar prince, and the story states that in his kingdom there was this elephant which was magical, and because of that elephant there was always prosperity in Vishantar's empire. But in the neighboring kingdom there was a drought, so they came to seek help from Vishantar, and Vishantar gives away the elephant. So here we see, हमारे यहाँ संकल्प का है ना कॉन्सेप्ट इंडिया में, जब कुछ देते हैं तो पंडित जी संकल्प कराते हैं, इफ यू प्रैक्टिस हिंदुइज्म. सो हियर वी सी द संकल्प, ब्राह्मण इज गेटिंग द प्रॉमिस ऑफ having the elephant from Vishantar, and afterwards he was banished from the kingdom. But he was such a great वो दान पारमिता है, हमने प्रज्ञा पारमिता देखा, this is a representation of दान पारमिता. He donates everything, but ultimately everything comes back to him. So that's the story. But so this is one importance of Dhan is shown here. This is an inscription from Nalanda, and it talks about Patit Samutpad. तो पहले के स्कल्पचर्स में हमें सिर्फ 2 लाइन इन्वोकेटरी लाइन्स होती है, यदम्मा हेतु प्रभा तेजाम हेतु तथागतो एसाम चैव निरुदा एवं वादी महाश्रवणा. सो बेसिकली वो 2 लाइन बताते हैं, लेकिन इसलिए पूरा बताते हैं वो कि भाई हम कॉज एंड इफेक्ट के चक्कर में है, वो क्या क्या है और उससे क्या. So we know the style. So if you pay attention, then you will able to identify the artist. And here she has painted stupa, which is in Shwedagon in Myanmar. And there is a story that and this section is called from here onwards, like Vaisvik Tanavana, or like global capacity, the expansion of Buddhist art across Asia. So here what we wanted to show here is that this stupa is very significant for Myanmar people.
Sorry. No stupa, and these are.
Here you see 2 palm leaf manuscript, and again the whole idea is like, what is more important, image of Buddha or the message of Buddha, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So there is like a whole debate, and you see like a whole tradition of manuscript painting coming, like there would be people who would say ki, okay, words should be written, so that is written, but at the same time you also have the image. So the problem solved, like, okay, have both, text and image. Here again it's episode of Mahaparinirvan, and above that is the worship of Stup. Stup is being worshipped. So just to show you that this episode of Mahaparinirvan, passing of the enlightened one, was very important in Buddhist tradition, and also the worship of Stup. His passing is for him a salvation. Buddha has gone away, so look at him, his gradual passing, and he is becoming one with the nature, right? And then look at his face. I mean, like he is leaving this world, but there is I said that Ananda took a place by bench between the 2 charlotte trees. So you can see 2 charlotte.
That's been after date.
And
See,
also
the
the
blessing is
things
the
have been
power.
kept in the very innermost part of
Buddha
the palace to keep it safe. And you know, like I'm just telling you, like one panel could be a lecture. So there is so much to look into artwork. You know, we need to take a point of inscription, and they were from a very important text called one of the core teaching of Buddha, Pratitya Samutpad. So it means like cause and effect. So Buddha says like whatever happens because of there is some reason. There is always a reason. And so something happens, then we do act. So there is a cause and there is an effect. अगर हमने एग्जीबिशन नहीं लगाया होता तो आप लोग आते नहीं, आप आते नहीं तो हम मिलते नहीं, और अगर आपने मिले तो आप अपना इंस्टाग्राम पे फोटो नहीं डालेंगे अब. You know, so like he said, like we are in that chain, and ultimately we need to break this chain to attain the शून्यता, you know, like to get to that stage. But हम इसी में फंसे रहते हैं और फंसे रहेंगे. So he said कि there is this cause and effect, and there is possibility of getting away of it, and he tells you in Pratitya Samutpad how to get away with it.
And they said konnichiwa.
So this is another sculpture which has been brought here to attest the India's relationship with Malaysia, for instance. This is found from Malaysia, and it is an inscription of a Mahanavik, again which talks about like his voyage, and you can see a stoop. So we know like expansion of Buddhism in Malaysia. These are two very interesting words. She is Sanghamitra.
Sanghamitra, daughter of
Daughter
Ashok.
of Ashok.
Nandalal Bose.
Yeah, they're talking about 3rd century BC,
Yes.
and who is painting it at 20th century
Sanghamitra,
artist.
daughter of
One of the
Ashok.
celebrated artists who has also made constitution, designed constitution, Nandalal Bose. And when he makes Sanghamitra with utter simplicity, it's a Japanese rice paper, only pen and ink, line drawing, and very evocatively he brings in her peaceful expressions, and she carries the Bodhi tree. Look at the delineation of the leaf. So it's absolutely fabulous. So Sanghamitra would take this tree and go to Sri Lanka.
Sri
Now
Lanka.
how she is being depicted by a Sri Lankan artist.
Sri Lankan artist.
It is again a 20th century painting by Solis Mendes, and he
Solis
is a very
Mendes.
famous artist like of Sri Lanka, and this is from a mural painting. You have to
Mural.
check the photograph. So for Sri Lanka, Sanghamitra is always portrayed. She is a monk. She is in Sanghati, but she is also daughter of Ashok. So she is
Ashok.
shown with the grandeur of her royalty. So look at the way her ship is coming.
Yes.
The Bodhi tree also with the chhatra, and then there is chhatra over her. So utter simplicity and exuberance, how artists at different places perceive it, and she is being received by Sri Lankan king.
Good king.
Now Buddha was a Chakravartin, and in Indian tradition, like any Chakravartin would be having 7 ratnas. 7 रत्न उनके पास होते हैं. जैसे हमने अकबर का सुना ना, नवरत्न, वो एक्चुअली यहीं से आया है. I realized it later only when I found this Saptaratna का concept. And what are those Saptaratna? Like, you know, you have Asvaratna, you have Stri Ratna, Gaj Ratna, Dhamma Ratna. मतलब वो राजा has to be also the savior of the Dhamma, for instance, protector of the Dhamma. So those Saptaratnas are shown here, and you also see here Pragya Paramita manuscript. So Pragya Paramita is one of there are many paramitas, like, you know, like I think 6 paramitas. So this is one of the Pragya Paramita is the last one and the most important one. And the teaching is very important, and above that you see series of Buddhas.
Series of Buddha.
There is this concept of 1000 Buddha also, and we are talking about Pratitya Samutpad, cause and effect. Yeah, 1000 Buddha, even China and Japan also. So and what we talked about this cycle of birth, the Tibetan artist, the Tanka painter, they showed it many times. You know, we are like always caught in this Bhav Chakra.
Bhav Chakra.
And this is what needs to be broken. And then this is Kala, this of time. And so the cycle of rebirths are there. Here is this work by Nandalal Bose again. Again simplistic, minimalistic, but very evocative. And what he has tried to show is quite interesting. He's shown a very important concept of Buddhism, Brahma Vihar, And what it talks about, it talks about love, talks about kindness. It's and that is absolutely clear here. That with the kindness and love, he is taking care of the lambs. And Brahma Vihar also has these two more concepts. It says like, if somebody is happy, you be happy about it. If somebody is sad, you be sad about it. And then they say like, if you are happy, if you're getting something, don't be too happy and don't be too sad. बुरा होता है तो भी आपको विचलित नहीं होना, और बहुत अच्छा होता है तो भी ज़्यादा खुश होने की ज़रूरत है. ये हमारा क्या होता है कि अगर आपके नंबर ज़्यादा आएंगे ना, तो मुझे नहीं अच्छा लगेगा, मुझे अपने नंबर ज़्यादा चाहिए. So we need to reach to that level, where we are happy for other people's happiness. So this is one Buddhist concept which Nandalal definitely would have understood. But what he does here, he's कहते हैं ना, एक तीर से दो शिकार कर रहे हैं वो. अब आप 20th century का जब टाइम पीरियड देखें, ब्रिटिश भी है, बुद्ध इज अ न्यू कॉन्सेप्ट फॉर मेनी पीपल, यूरोपियन पीपल. सो ही इज ऑल्सो शोन एज अ काइंड ऑफ shepherd. At the moment we think of this relationship, we remember Christ. So he's trying to tell people that as you understand significance of Christ, same is here. Same love, kindness and service idea is communicated by Buddha.
But yes, it's a good.
Now we are here, and what we are seeing here, a very important event of the life of Buddha by a modern artist, Upendra Bharati. We are seeing him again and again because he was very much inspired by Buddha's teaching and did a lot of painting on it, wrote books. Here we see Buddha is seated under a banyan tree.
Bodhi tree.
No, it's not Bodhi tree.
Yes.
And Sujata is coming to offer him food. Now the story is that when he started practicing severe penance, austerity, or like Shungar, for instance, elements are very well drawn.
It's in Peshawar.
So these are the elements which is interesting artistically. Let's go to that sculpture. And here Indra is coming with a towel to receive him. So the God himself has come to receive the baby Siddharth, and the moment he is born, he takes 7 steps. So how artists showed the 7 steps, not like walking him like a European artist, but 5 lotuses here. So 5 lotuses and Siddhartha is standing on the lotus flower. It means that he has taken 7 steps. अब हम ये भी बोलेंगे कि 7 लोटस क्यों नहीं है, बट कलाकार कहते हैं मैंने इतना बता दिया ना, समझ लो आप. ठीक है, तो हमारे देश में हम समझ जाते हैं आधी से ज्यादा चीजें. अब ये बहुत बड़ा इवेंट है, तो हम इसमें क्या देखते हैं कि इसको देखने के लिए स्वयं ब्रह्मा इज ऑल्सो देयर. ही इज शोन विद 3 फेसेस एंड विष्णु इज देयर. And we identify again Indra Bharati. And how did he show miracle of Shravasti? Can you see flames? And the moment you see lotus, it's water. So in a very modernist take, he's not following iconography, he's not showing the Padma Peeth and other stuff, but he captures the essence of Buddhism, and also it shows the continuity of the tradition in the country. Now let's go to this side.
It's a 20th century.
So look at the sculpture, and this sculpture talks about the great departure, Buddha leaving his palace. So he is a prince, so you can see there is a chhatra, and then he is going quietly, so there should be no noise. So what happened? Yakshas, they are demigods, they are holding the hooves of horse. And when this departure is taking place, while common human beings are sleeping in the palace, you see the gods have come to witness this great event.
Yes.
Now, of course, Siddhartha was a divine being as believed by us devotees, but he also had to go through the worldly rituals. So here is this stele which shows Siddhartha going to school. And he is going to school on a ram. So he's seated on a ram, and then to show the palace, he's going outside the palace. You can see only a pillar is shown. So you know that this is a palace, he's leaving the palace, and then there is a chhatra. So you know, not like for some particular kind of people, but anyone with pure heart can achieve that, and that's the beauty of Buddhism.
What a heaven.
So no barrier of caste, creed, religion, anything in it.
That time.
And this is again a very interesting episode related to one of his miracles. Can you find an elephant in this composition? There is one elephant in it. Come. No, आपको ढूंढना पड़ेगा. मैं नहीं बताऊंगी. ऊपर तो नहीं है, वो कीर्ति मुख है. हाथी ढूंढो भाई, हाथी इसके अंदर कहाँ पे?
साइड में बैठ. हाँ ये साइड में.
Side में.
हाँ जो ऐसे करके बैठ.
Like it seems like small size.
हाँ बिल्कुल छोटू सा हाथी है.
छोटा सा. They are like cups.
Yeah, so a very tiny little elephant.
Yeah, that
But what
is
is
very
interesting here is the moment we think of elephant is huge. But then artists try to show the stature of Lord Buddha. So he's Buddha, so he is taller. Elephant is tiny, and the story states us to that. What you see here is Buddha is seated in Padmasana on a lotus pedestal, and there is this monkey. He's offering honey to Lord Buddha. Now the story states that once he was residing in a forest, and there a monkey saw him. Birth of Maya, birth of Siddharth. Then you see Siddharth taking steps, a standing figure of child Siddharth. He's leaving the palace on a horse. Above that, he's cutting his hair. It means that he has left all worldly ties and then moving to renunciation. He is in Bodh Gaya.
Bodh Gaya.
And how do we know? He is touching the Bhumi Sparsh Mudra. He is touching the earth. So he is
Earth.
witnessing, asking Mother Goddess Earth to come and witness his enlightenment. So we need a witness. That okay, we are great. Right? So he is an enlightened being, and he's attacked by Mar. Mar always disturbs. You know, Mar is like Indra. Temptation of Mar. Mar is like Indra. Like Indra को भी डर लगता है ना कि भाई मेरा सिंहासन चला जाएगा तो आप सरस भेज देते हैं. तो वैसे मार ने अपनी बेटियों को भेजे. But then ultimately he gets enlightenment, and then we see the first sermon at Deer Park, Sarnath. And finally Mahaparinirvan. And it is Kushinagar, and it is after Mahaparinirvan we got the relics.
Yes.
So Mahaparinirvan we have devoted an entire section. Now we are talking about Gupta period,
Yes.
and I'm bringing you to this magnificent artwork by an artist called Arup Das. And you again here see the life events of Buddha. It's a 20th century
Life
painting.
events of 20th century painting.
To show the
Life of
continuity in
Buddha.
Indian artistic tradition, and what he shows
Has to be
again,
enlightenment,
the central
this
figure is
information.
of Buddha, but the way it is dealt with, it reminds one of Byzantine art of Western tradition, particularly the use of gold as a halo. And then can you see the bowl, which symbolizes humility, and Abhay is protection. And then we have the various episodes of life of Buddha. So you see birth of Buddha, you see Siddharth seeing the first sights of Dukh. When he came to know that okay, people can be old, they can die, you know.
Yes.
So he decides to
The breadfruits.
become the ascetic. And finally, here is a very interesting panel where we see Yashodhara with Rahul, whom Siddharth has left. So artist is making reference to that, contemporary artist. We do not see this reference in traditional art, okay? And then here is Mara Vijay. So, and you can also see here, like Siddharth is giving his clothes to his charioteer, and he is becoming a sannyasi. Here Mara Vijay, he gets enlightenment. You can see Mara Kanyas are there, plus all the demons who are attacking him. And then first sermon at Sarnath. How do we know? Artist has given you a deer. So आप समझ जाओ deer साथ में हो रहा है. And it's a very village kind like setting, you know, entirely. A very contemporary setting, but then iconography, he knows how to show you. And finally we see again Gautam Buddha coming back to Kapilvastu, seeking help from his wife Yashodhara and Rahul. So this is the ultimate test, you know, when you come back to your family and can you still be not moved by it. So this episode from Pala period onwards, like 8 episodes of Buddha became very popular, and they were shown in one small stele. Look at it, like how small it is. You have seen Gupta sculpture, it was so big, but in this also we have all the episodes. The central figure is of Buddha in the Bhumi Sparsh, which means like he is enlightened. Then you see the Mar Kanyas dancing on the pedestal. Can you see the birth of Buddha on the side? Tiny little images. So in small object, all 8 episodes are shown. And why this become very popular? Because we find a lot of them in India, also in Myanmar, also in other countries, because devotee wanted to carry something. So these are votive tablets which was taken by devotee to their houses.
What's the material?
It's stone.
It's stone.
Let's come to this sculpture.
8 enlightenment. This is smaller. This is
So,
Nala.
आपको महापरिनिर्वाण like
हाँ, ये अच्छा आर्ट दिखाते हैं इसमें। इसमें पूरा आर्ट दिखा रहे हैं।
So stupa is a very integral part of Buddhist worship. You have stupa and you have chaityas. So this is one of the stup, and these are called mandat stup. So once
Mandat
someone's
stup.
wish is fulfilled, they may
Stup.
donate something like this to the monastery or keep it at their own house.
It
Here
is the
also we
same.
see various episodes of the life of Buddha. So here is Buddha's birth, Maya holding the tree. Here is his enlightenment. He is touching the earth. Go to the other side. Nalagiri elephant.
Elephant. It's a good elephant.
There are many stories moving around, but the main 4 ones are these. So this is like Nalagiri's episode, where he, and then finally Mahaparinirbana.
Sorry.
Bronze from Nalanda, Palagiri. Now this is the section devoted to Mahaparinirvana of Lord Buddha. From Gandhar. So now we know the material culture and we know also about the rituals of the place. So
The
here
relics.
Buddha's body is kept in this coffer, and this is like you can see again, like that bolt is also there. So his devotees are very sad after his demise. Then we see there is this stupa, and can you see the handprints?
Yes.
Right? This is such an integral tradition. Yeah, and here it could be again meaning like protection, like Buddha's presence there. But then we see it in every part of India in some or the other form. So how folk interacts with the mainstream religion, and then look at this woman. She's shown from the back profile. You know what it symbolizes? She is taking pradakshina to the stupa. So it is 2-dimensional, but I just told you how she is going around the stupa. As Buddha passed away, his relics were divided, and so everyone wanted to keep his relic, right? Initially, Malla decided, he died in Kushinagar, and that was under Malla rulers, so they decided to keep it for themselves. But then other city-states came and attacked, and they wanted their share. So at that time, a Brahman Drona came,
Shravasti.
Yeah, and Shravasti, again, when somebody is enlightened, people need to trust that also, right? So there were a lot of people who were challenging that why should we agree on what you are saying. Constant challenges, particularly people would challenge them. They brainwash the king. So these kind of things happen. So once he performed a miracle in Shravasti, where we see that from upper part of his body flames were coming, and from lower part water was coming. So here you don't see the water. I mean, like either it was never part of it or lower part has not survived. We don't know. But you can see the flames. But the thing is, like, he can tame the two opposite elements of the nature, water and fire together. So that's a very big thing. And then again, look at the flying celestial. Can you see the two people coming with parasol? So in Indian tradition, this is how you make the flying celestials. Not like the Devadut we have seen outside. So you know the difference now. So each piece needs lot of careful observations. And either side of Buddha is again there are stories depicted. So I'm not going into detail, otherwise we'll not be able to finish it. Again Gandhar. Again you can see it through the color of the stone. And also like many features, like the drapery is not only for India, but it's important for the world culture as well. And this is and this is one such example. This is a work by a Hungarian artist called Elizabeth Brunner. And here what you see is what she has depicted: footsteps of Lord Buddha.
Footsteps.
How do you know?
How do we know? Because we are art historians, so we know. And it is inspired from Thai tradition. You know, there are like many periods in Thai art as well. Like we have Gupta and Mauryas. Similarly, this is from Sukhothai period. And in
Sukhothai.
Sukhothai period, you see a lot of walking Buddha. Because Buddha is showing way, and also like there are many stories related to life of Buddha where he was continuously walking. And one such episode is called Mahachankraman, which is like when Buddha got enlightenment. After that, for 7 weeks, you know, he was like, he had like a lot of energy, like he was doing something or the other. So one is like 1 week he continuously stared at the Bodhi tree for 7 days. Then 7 days he kept on walking, for instance. So we don't know, but this is like inspired from one of these Sukhothai sculpture. But what Elizabeth Brunner did, it's a very important take on Sukhothai sculpture. She's not copied the sculpture. Otherwise, she would have shown the full Buddha in traditional art. What she did, she showed only the footprint. And think of the time when she came to India. She belonged to early 20th century. And she came to India around 1929, and this was the time when Europe was very disturbed because of the world wars, and there was like a lot of chaos. So India was perceived as a kind of land of spirituality. You know, it can give you peace and spiritual ways of living. So she decided to move to India along with her mother, and there are a lot of stories. So, you know, if I'll go on, there would be one lecture on Elizabeth Brunner only. But she had seen a dream. And in that dream, she saw that there was this old man who is giving her a lamp. She told her mother about that dream. So she said, like, you know, this old man is no one but Rabindranath Tagore.
Yes.
And then she wanted to come back. She wanted to meet him. And then the mother and daughter decided to come here, and they lived their entire life here. So this is one work where we see Elizabeth Brunner interest in Indian tradition, Indian culture, where she is shown Buddha in the walking position. It means that, like, you know, Buddha's teaching is way forward in this chaotic world. What kind of
The other likes to.
तो आप इसमें देखेंगे कि जो पिपरावा शहर है उसके का जो केंद्र है वो एक स्तूप है. इसी स्तूप से हमें रेलिक मिला भगवान बुद्ध का. इसको विलियम पेपे ने ढूंढा था, और स्तूप के आसपास काफी सारी मोनेस्ट्रीज भी मिली. मोनेस्ट्रीज की खास बात क्या होती है कि जनरली एक आंगन है, राउंड के चारों ओर छोटे छोटे चेम्बर्स है जिसमें मंक्स रहते थे, और उन्हीं मोनेस्ट्री से हमें मिला है सील. नेक्स्ट सेक्शन.
Shows how excavation happens.
बड़ा सा संदूक मिला जिसके अंदर ये सारे कैस्केट्स रखे हुए हैं.
Baskets.
In this showcase.
Showcase.
So why this seal is important? Because how do you know that these relics
Prakrit
are
also
of
like
Buddha?
Burmese script.
So
Yes, thank you.
We have discovered it at a site from Piprava,
Yes.
and there was this monastery in a nearby area where we have found 30 to 32 seals, and it
Seals.
had this name of the city called Kapilvastu.
Kapivastu.
And this is the only place where we have found a seal with the name Kapilvastu. So we definitely know that this Piprava was originally called Kapilvastu. And why is Kapilvastu important? Hometown of Buddha, right?
Hometown of
He was
Buddha.
prince of Kapilvastu.
Vastu.
From this, which was under Shakya's clan.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this seal is very significant historically.
Yes.
Let's go to the next section.
Next section.
You can take the voice.
Yes. It's also very informative. Buddha, which was in basically Mathura, it is seated in Bodh Gaya in Mathura. It's situated from Tangai.
Done around 5th century BC, and this was made in mud. Later on, Emperor Ashok, he expanded these tubes, and he made it with a brick. And final phase of construction was under Kushan rulers. So we know, like, right from 5th century to 3rd century AD, there was continuous suspension of the soup. So it was very important for soup, and that also testified as belongs to Buddha himself. And what we have noticed here is that, like, there's this legend which states that initially Buddha's belly was divided into 8 parts. But later on, when Ashok came, he opened all the old stupas except one which is in Ram and took out the relics and further subdivided into 84,000 to make 84,000 stupas. And this is also like one of the concepts, like, where like emperor was dispersing the relics of Buddha so that more stupas can be built, more stronger political and religious relationships can be built. So that's why we find it in Sri Lanka and other places also.
Like China, Japan, and all. These are also saying how relics were done.
From this site.
These are all the diseases that don't go inside. So logical. All original. These all are.
That's the beauty of this exhibition. And here you see the terracotta objects. And terracotta is generally like folk tradition, and you see very simple sort of molding. But this is one of the fine renderings in terracotta dating back to Kushan period. Again, Buddha is Vyakhyan Mudra, is preaching. And you can see, like, the samadhi is very festively dealt with. Only on the other shoulder, only partly it is covering it. And this kind of motif you also see in China. So that's quite interesting, like, how styles are traveling from one part to another. Then can you see this one? So this looks very sophisticated, the Buddha's sculpture. All of you can have a look at it. And below, we can see it is from popular culture. And these are matrikas.
Matrikas.
Goddesses. So like they are like group of goddesses. So some sort of like relationship with Saptamatrikas or Matrika panels we find right from the Indus Valley tradition, and it still continues. Then this is the masterpiece in this section, and this belonged to the time. This copper belonged to time of Samrat Ashok.
This is found in Ashok.
Expanded this stupa, and it is in this copper we found those 5 caskets, which you are going to see shortly. And in that we have the relics of Buddha, the jewels, and also it was filled with many other material like terracotta sculptures and who knows what. We don't know because colonial record does not document it properly. They were more interested in the caskets, and they said other things were thrown out. But we really don't know. It was thrown out, it was not documented. And this object stone, single stone, 800 kilograms in weight. So think about the challenges of moving it from one part to another. So how the craftsmen would have, and the people would have lifted it and then installed it in the stoop and made of one. And the technique, what you are seeing here, stylistically, it resembles these copper seen in other parts of Asia. So it's possible that the craftsman who created it was employed, imported from outside, and modern emperor could commission them. So again, the power and the exuberance of modern King Ashok could be seen from that. These are some other seals from the same site, which gives you the name of Kapil Vastu. We have also put one slide from Nalanda to tell you, how these seals, what a kind of part of a larger
Found from Nalanda.
Currency system of India.
Coinage. Coinage from Nalanda.
We are celebrating repatriation. There are no Vikrama. So, apart from in past 1 decade, government of India is doing making a lot of conscious effort to bring back the treasures which were taken away from this country, either during the colonial period or also due to illicit trade. So we are trying to forge many diplomatic relationships in different ways. So Vikrama came back through purchase. In partnership with Godrej Industries Group. So again, a very good model of public-private partnership. Then, in 1 decade, we have got around 642 objects back to the country. No, they have been given to the government of India.
Returned.
Yeah, they are returned to us. So what has happened, this was another story. Actually, when it was in the museum and the government approached the other museum, so as a diplomatic gesture, the country started returning it. This was returned from America, from Metropolitan Museum, and you can see how refined the piece is.
Returned from
We have got
India.
such refined pieces, and in fact, like some objects which have been returned to the
Sorry.
country from the various museums, and also went back to the temple sites. So for us, like these objects are very sacred, you know, like when we see a Vishnu image or Hanuman image, it's a sacred object.
Yes, I-
It's not artifacts.
What's the role of Godrej in it?
In this, yeah, so I'll tell you. So what has happened, it was in the auction. Okay, this treasure was taken by Pepe family, and it was as per the rule of the time. So when William Pepe excavated it, there was this law that whosoever will report the findings, they will be allowed to keep a particular part of it, which is still there. You know, if somebody finds, you are allowed, but it has to be reported. So the family took some with them in England. It remained with them for many years. From 2000 onwards, the Chris Pepe, the great grandson of William Pepe, he started showing it in various museums during the exhibition. And finally, he decided to sell it. And he took due permission from his government to sell it. Fair enough. But when it came to auction, lot of historians made hue and cry about it. That it is not only artwork. For us, it's relic of Buddha. It's like living presence of Buddha himself. So it must not be sold like that. So the government of India took action. They sent legal notice to Sotheby's, and there was like a lot of diplomatic debates and back and forth. You know, so like a lot of discussion took place, and finally they persuaded that it should be sold to India only.
Right, mindfulness also like it is, right, concentration also is there, right, view.
Lot of veneration. This is very, very significant part because we have Lord Buddha's relic, original relic, and these are the only relic in the world which was supported with some inscriptional evidence. So there are other places, like we know that it was disseminated, at least 8 parts we know from the original story also, but here we also found this inscription on the spot, and the spot belongs to 3rd century BCE, and here what you see, an inscription which says that Shakya's brother and sister, they have made this stupa in reverence of Lord Buddha, roughly speaking. Because you know, like inscription, there are a lot of interpretation, but we know that it was.
Heritage walk was nice. We are going to the next section. We get to know everything about Buddha. It was very interesting. It's must visit also, like while you go to East Asia and Southeast Asia, you must visit those Buddhist places. It's must.
As kind of his share, because he discovered the treasure, but there are multiple aspects to it. First of all, look at the craftsmanship. Can you see the center? There are 3 pearls which are fused together, and when they are fused together, it forms a pattern of 3 ratna, which is very important for Buddhism. Then we see like various kind of lotus-like or star-shaped petals. We also have leaf cylinder. We have like coil, which is like a spring. So far, the studies are yet to be done, like what they symbolize. But there are holes in it, so it means that probably there was some part of a string, or it was sewn. We don't know. But these are connected. And can you look at the gold ones? So we have found a lot of gold donations also, and then. So when these jewels, like we have already seen, like they are in different materials. We have topaz, we have lapis, we have a pearl, we have gold, silver, amethyst, and they are not locally available. So it means that they are coming from different parts of the world. So either whosoever has donated it is very rich, or
Like
probably
Sanchi
people from
Stupa.
different parts have given there to offer. So we know the relationship, like there's a kind of lot of scope to do more research on it. And one more thing I would like to point out here is that when you look at the records are not properly maintained during the colonial period. There could be main reasons, like many reasons. They never wanted to disclose it completely. So it was written that Pepe has taken what was duplicate. Okay. But keep this in mind, and when you look at the jewels in Calcutta collection, you will notice that the finest pieces of gold and other stuff he took with him in the guise of duplicate. So and how they are justifying this is the Gupta period, Nalanda. And here we see the Panchatathagat. So again, initially start.
The Sean Prince of Singapore. It was really interesting. Got to know everything about Buddhism. It was very interesting. Let me show that these are also the rooms. So also the spot area. This is the light awareness. It happens also near airport. Yes, also Taichila. Buddha is there also. Buddhism also you can do. North Bengal. Where's the 6 Baligonje? Thank you. Thanks for